Good morning. I know that this is a very different convo for us this morning. I know that many of you are watching in small communities all over campus, and a lot of moms and dads and family members are watching this particular convocation all throughout the world. And so welcome. Glad that you're joining us today. We have multiple guests from President Falwell, who'll be talking to us about the coronavirus and how it's affecting our university. And then the guest that we had scheduled originally, Jordan Dooley, will be with us this morning. And then Coach McKay and I will be sitting down to talk about just the ups and downs of this very memorable season for him. This virus has obviously taken the world by storm. Over 140,000 people have been affected by this, 5,000 deaths so far, 41 here in the United States. And so in one sense, I know that this in due time will feel like an inconvenience for a lot of us, in that games were canceled and travel plans were erased. But for a lot of other people, this is a very serious matter. For a lot of other people, this is going to cost them their jobs. Some of them are going to be getting ready to have memorial services for loved ones. And so we want to be sensitive to that, especially as believers who see all of this through an eternal lens. We know that that God in his sovereignty is going to give us an opportunity through so much of this tragedy to create testimony. And so we're excited about what God has in and through this season for us. Hope that today won't just inspire you, but also give you some just manual, and give you also some news as a university as we move forward and get ready for our spring break time. We sat down with President Falwell earlier this morning. He was here in the studio to be on Fox News, and so we sat down and grabbed a few minutes with him to talk to him about how this is all affecting us as a university. Let's watch this together. Hey, President Falwell, thanks for joining us this morning.
Great to be with you, David.
A really unique convocation for us. Obviously, our students huddled in smaller groups watching this live stream. They'd love to hear from you just about the coronavirus and our university's response to it. Obviously, we're about to break for spring break. And so what can students expect when they come back from their spring break?
Well, you wouldn't believe all the messages that Becky and I have received from students saying, please don't cancel classes and put us home online. We love it here. We want to stay here 6 more weeks when they get back from spring break. We are eliminating almost all gatherings of large crowds, and so Convo will be there really won't be Convo except online for a couple of weeks, and then when the roof comes off the Vine Center, what's your plan? Are you going to do that online too? Or?
Yes, sir. We're going to live stream. We're going to use this opportunity to actually go out and get guests who maybe wouldn't travel to us, to Lynchburg, but we can go to and sit down and have really great conversations with. And so we're going to leverage the moment to do Convo's live stream online. However, like you said, we don't want to have large gatherings when the nation isn't really having them. And we wanted to be proactive in creating just opportunities for deeper conversations. And we have community groups. We have 1,100 community groups already locked and loaded on our campus. And so they'll be able to take those convocations and then have great conversations afterwards.
And all the trips that were canceled for spring break, some are academic requirements, practicums.
Yes, sir.
For students. And we are working with the provost to make sure that everybody still graduates on time.
Yes, sir.
They don't get held up by that. And, it's just I just did a Fox and Friends interview about the same subject, and I talked about how in 2009, 17,000 people died from H1N1 flu. And you didn't see the hype in the press 24/7 like we're seeing now. And you have to wonder if there's a political motivation behind it. So we're hopeful that that's the case, that it's overhyped, that it's not as bad as everybody wants to think it is. And we're praying that that's the case. And so we just, it's mainly elderly folks with pre-existing conditions that I urge the students, when you go home, don't, even if you don't think you're infected, don't spend a lot of time around people who are at high risk. And so that's the main danger with this flu, and so that's just something I want students to think about when they go home.
Yes, sir. So the plan is, as of right now, and I know all things are fluid, and during the week, while everyone's off at spring break, as far as our student body, we won't be. We'll be working diligently.
That's right.
But the plan right now is that our students will return after spring break to modifications that will be made on campus for them to ensure greater safety, but classes will resume as of right now.
That's correct. Unless everything changes in next week, I don't see us doing the same thing that other schools have done. And when they say they're going online, they don't really mean online. They mean some hybrid of online and normal education. It's really more Skype lectures and emails between the professor and the student. And so it's really not the same quality of education that we provide online and that they receive here on campus. So, I really want students to, that you guys paid to be here, you wanted to be on campus. I want to give you what you paid for, but we do have to be sensitive to people with respiratory problems and to older people.
Certainly people who follow you on social media or me or different avenues can get supplemental news but from those sources. But the primary source by which our students, our parents, faculty, staff, our whole community can get the latest information is through what, as the week progresses for us?
Well, we'll be posting on liberty.edu.
Yes, sir.
Any changes, and
we have a banner now on the front page.
Okay.
And then we also have, I think, an entire page dedicated with frequently asked questions.
That's the place to go
Yes, sir.
For information. But I don't foresee any big changes other than what we've already announced.
Yes, sir. Last thought. Let's say I'm a senior. I'm looking ahead. This is my last semester. All this uncertainty. What would you say to our senior class?
This too shall pass. I mean, we've seen every 2 years, a bad strain of the flu. For some reason, it's always on election years. I don't know why that is, but there's some bad strain of the flu that comes in every 2 years. I've got the list somewhere, and everybody gets scared, but it kills 30 to 70,000 people a year, just the regular flu in this country already. And it's we're all mortal. We're all dying from the day we're born, and it's just best not to panic.
And if I'm graduating and I'm just worried that maybe this will interrupt my schedule to be able to get my cap and gown and to, be able to, we're going to work with and get so many of these things figured out in the weeks to come, right?
We are, and we're going to have commencement, and it's going to be outdoors, and so it's even better that it's outdoors, and it's for reasons of this flu, and it's something we're not going to deny our graduates who have worked so hard to reach that milestone.
Thank you so much. So obviously we realize that this has really shifted so many of our students' spring break plans. I know of multiple international trips and domestic trips that we've had to reschedule. And in the middle of all of this, I do want you to know that what is a surprise to us is no surprise to the Lord. And so if you are a Liberty student watching this morning here on campus, or one of our commuter students that live here in Lynchburg, and your plans were to go out of the country, or your plans were to be out of town, but now you're staying put, we do want you to know that our Shepherd's office has contacted Meals on Wheels and our friends at Parkview to figure out ways where we could maybe serve this community this week. We have a lot of elderly folks who are maybe a lot more afraid to get out of their home, knowing that this virus is a greater risk for them. And so we've contacted Meals on Wheels that typically has senior citizens delivering meals to other senior citizens, and said, hey, we want to come and serve. We might have some volunteers that are available this week. And they said, you know what? A lot of these folks are scared to get out of their house to do the volunteer work. We certainly could use your help. help. And so if you will just text LYH serve, Lynchburg serve, LYH serve to 24502, we'll be able to know who's available this week to serve alongside of us. And again, we see this as an opportunity for the church to be alive and aware with what's happening around us and to really show people the hope of heaven in the middle of a moment like this. And so if you can volunteer, that's certainly going to be an opportunity for us to not waste this moment that God has put right in front of us. This has also affected our basketball team. This has been such a bittersweet season for us. Obviously, an incredible regular season, and then to win the ASUN championship game was such a big moment, in a historic moment for our university, to be able to go to the dance 2 years in a row, only to be told yesterday afternoon, the sad news that the NCAA tournament has been canceled. And so we wanted to sit down with Coach Richie McKay to talk about this season and just some of what these seniors are feeling as they've been told that they won't be going to be a part of this tournament. But let's watch this quick reel about the ASUN championship game.
And we welcome you back inside the Vine Center today for Liberty Flames basketball. Coming up, the ASUN championship between the top seed Liberty Flames and the third seed Lipscomb Bison.
How about this atmosphere here today in the Vine Center? 30 years of this building, and they're trying to go to 30 wins of the season for Liberty.
Holmesley inside to James, goes up, count it, and one.
James to the offensive board, Pacheco Ortiz for three. This week is fun. Oh, man. All got going yesterday. Holmesley off the window. Holmesley, another NBA range three. That's not what they did, and it's up to the races for Cuffy. Look at Bio Baxter Bell. What a first half for the Liberty Flames.
Second half just about to start here in Lynchburg. McGee, he'll put another one up. McGee circles the dribble down the paint, hangs to the rim and scores left line.
Get this to single digits, but again, Liberty keeps McKay. Another three. It's Elijah Cuffy. And James gets in there, gets a steal. And it's showtime.
To Baxter Bell now to McGee, who will dunk it ahead of the pack.
Here's Baxter Bell for three. Exclamation point. The Liberty Flames back-to-back ASUN champions. We're going down.
Man, getting to experience that in person is a memory I'll never, ever lose. Just that room, the Vine Center, was just electric that afternoon. So first of all, congratulations on a great season, Coach. And obviously, we just finally punched our ticket. And we have our reservations to go to the dance, only to be then told yesterday the news. So talk to us a little bit about the season and tell us about just how these seniors are doing, these four seniors who are just coming to terms with this reality that they won't be a part of the tournament.
Yeah, thank you, David, first of all, for your support. And the Vine Center was rocking last Sunday. It was really special for our basketball program to see that kind of support. I think 7,700 people. That was our 23rd win in a row, and we finished the Vines and closed it out well with an undefeated season. And it was the hard work and the labor of many, but especially our seniors. Some of them have been here 5 years, and man, it was tough. Yesterday when we got the news, and we could kind of see when the NBA canceled their season that this might come to fruition. But yesterday when we got the news, there was a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. You know, for the fans, they just see the game. They don't typically see what goes into it. And when we lost last season in San Jose to Virginia Tech, our guys have really, from that day, almost 360 days ago, invested in trying to do something that was similar to the experience that we shared last year. And so I know they were hurt, they were disappointed, but the beauty in this, we have young men that represent our university in such a first-class fashion. They really are a part of something bigger than themselves, and that's Liberty University and a commitment to our mission. They handle it with a grace and continue to operate out of a deep sense of gratitude that I can only tell you that we're really proud of them for.
Talk to me about these 4 seniors in particular. Just you're more than a coach to them.
Yeah.
You're a big brother, a father figure, someone they've looked up to. They're moving on. Tell us some of your memories, just looking back, and then your hopes for them in the future.
Yeah, you know, we have a saying in our program that family isn't just represented in your blood relative, but it's anyone that loves you unconditionally. And I think just feeling the love that we have within our program. Caleb Holmesley, who tore his ACL twice, he rebounded to be the ASUN Player of the Year this year, and had multiple NBA scouts at many of our games, and he'll definitely have a chance to play for money. He's going to graduate with a master's degree at the end of the semester. Really proud of him. Scotty James, an engineering major who transferred from Bradley University, another 2-time first-team All-ASUN player. Special young man. His mom, Christy, teaches here. They're a wonderful, fabulous family that really sought us out when he was looking for a place to land. And then Mayo Baxter-Bell, who's probably the most invisible of the 4, but the most popular with the student body for sure. A young man who lost his dad right before he came to college. And this young man, just to tell you a quick story, the growth of him, when he was home last break, there was, in his hometown Dayton, there was some bad weather, and he, on his own initiative, went from home to home in his neighborhood asking how he could help. Can I bring you food? Do you need water? Like, just an unbelievable representative. And then Georgie Pacheco-Ortiz from Ponce, Puerto Rico, endured the hurricane, some tornadoes, just devastation in his homeland. And another young man that he's the all-time winningest player at Liberty University in their men's basketball program. But their impact on others' lives, including my own, it's been grand, and we're really fortunate to have been able to do life with them.
Man, as it pertains to these seniors that are moving on, there's certainly a lot of discussion right now on social media, on ESPN, just of should there be maybe granted to seniors, not just in this sport, but in all these different sports. I mean, our hockey team, is having to halt their season, our tennis team. I mean, all these athletes that are moving on maybe won't get the look that they were going to get. A lot of our athletes were going to be, in March Madness on national television. The world was going to watch them. Recruiters were going to get a deeper look at them. So should they be granted, the discussion is maybe an additional year of eligibility. So I know that that's not your decision, but give us some of your thoughts about that.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the spring sports especially because they're losing their entire season. We're losing March Madness, which is the most watched sports event, at least in our country. And that opportunity to be on that big stage last year when we beat Mississippi State, that was great for our university. It was a lot of positive light was shined on our university, which was deservedly so. I think it's a hard equation for the NCAA. The implications would be large for them to award seniors an additional year. Obviously, it'd have to be financed or resourced in a certain way. And really, the teams that qualified for the tournament would be the only ones that lost something in it. Mm-hmm. The teams that didn't, another 300, almost 300 teams, what do you do with those seniors? And is that a disadvantage for them because they didn't qualify? So, hard equation for the NCAA and the presidents and athletic directors. However, I know our leadership in-house on this campus is phenomenal, and we'll fight for what's best for the student athlete.
Yeah, these are drastic times that might call for drastic measures, unusual times that call for things that are going to happen in the future that are going to be unusual. In the middle of all that, take your basketball coach hat off. Last question here. Put your brother in Christ hat back on. At the end of the day, as disappointing as this is, as big a deal as this is a sporting event that's not happening versus people whose family members have the coronavirus, people who in Italy are stranded, quarantined, and are unable to get a hold of loved ones. So give us a heavenly perspective, a bigger perspective, just as a brother in Christ?
Yeah, I just think we all get the privilege of being a part of something bigger than ourselves, especially as believers. And boy, just the perspective that is necessary. I mean, I think of what you're going through with your brother Benji, and he inspires me. And what Toby Mack went through earlier this year, and all the people that are infected or impacted by this virus. I think it's really important that we display for others a sense of hope. And I heard a great quote the other day that the peace within will always be greater than the panic without. And I think for us, those who know and trust Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, we can trust what His Word says. And I just believe that the hope that we can inflict on others will not only be in our words, but in our actions. And again, we get a chance and the privilege of maybe making someone else's life better by praying for them, or just by coming alongside them.
Richard, we love you. And again, congratulations on a bittersweet season.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us this morning.
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
We also have our guest that we had originally planned to have just come and open up the Bible and teach for us this morning at Convocations at the Vine Center. Her and her husband got in last night, and we just didn't want to be a bad steward of the opportunity that she is in town. So we'll be sitting down to talk with her, more of a question and answer format, and then have her at a different time when we're back in the Vines again for just an opportunity for her just to get up and speak. But here's a scissor reel for our guest, Jordan Dooley.
Hi, I'm Jordan Lee Dooley. I'm a national best-selling author, speaker, podcast host, and product shop owner. What began as just a small Etsy shop side hustle grew and evolved into all this.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I know that when you were probably mentally prepping for this, it was, hey, I'm going to get up and speak in front of a live audience of 10,000. But just know that even though that's not happening, but the impact of what you have to say in the next few minutes, I think, has eternal effect. And so thanks for being flexible and being a part of this.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I think most of our students know you as an author and as a blogger and also just a host of a great podcast. But just take us back on how God just began to give you influence and really just soul scripts in particular.
Yeah, well, in college, I kind of started looking ahead at my life. You know what you do as a senior, probably a lot of seniors now, looking ahead and saying, I'm not really sure if I feel confident in the direction I'm going. And I don't know what God wants me to do with my life. And I really started to wrestle with that. It was like a quarter life crisis or something. And I remember having a conversation with my mom one day. And my mom stayed home with us, but she was always doing something on the side, whether it was teaching English or working with a jewelry company or just doing something to use her gifts, but still have flexibility in her life. And so I remember having a conversation with her and I said, Mom, I don't know if I want to go follow my degree path. I'm a little stuck. And she just gave me the best advice. She said, okay, so don't. And what kind of mom, right, says just don't use your degree and don't get a job? She wasn't saying that, but she was giving me permission to just try some new things. And she said, you're creative and you haven't really tapped into those skills because you've been so focused only on academia. And now you have this lighter semester as you're finishing up school. Use that as an opportunity to explore some things you like. And that doesn't mean it'll become a career, but maybe it will. And so that led to trying some different creative outlets. And eventually it led to starting an Etsy store that I ran out of my storage closet in my sorority house. So I would have friends come and help me, and it was a place to also build community too, as we packaged and shipped little items all over the country.
And so it started with just, like you said, a very small operation. It grew into a very big business, a successful business. But it's not just you. You and your husband kind of just co-labor together. You don't just do marriage together. You do ministry together. You do mission together. You also do business together. So talk about that collaborative work.
It is a very huge blessing. It's an interesting dynamic. It's something to navigate. There's times where we have to have, okay, this is a business conversation. Put your business hat on for a second. Or, okay, hey, this is a marriage issue that we're working through, and let's not bring the business into it. And so there's different types of conversations to navigate with that, but I wouldn't have it any other way. To get to travel together, to get to impact people together. We have different lanes that we run in, but we get to do it as a team. And, two really is better than one is kind of what we believe. And so we thought, how can we join our efforts while still running in our actual paths or our actual giftings? So it's been an interesting journey. But
so how do you draw a line and not always let your business hijack just a vacation together? Or how do you not bring your business home all the time when you're constantly together?
This is where my husband comes in. He's the boundary drawer. He's much better about saying, hey, we're, in our bedroom or we're on vacation. We're going to not talk about this right now, because I can tend to be so ambitious and so focused on what can we do next and big ideas. So thankfully, we are complements in that way. And God made us a little bit different. So we balance each other. And sometimes when we need to talk about things, I can say, hey, this is urgent. And when we shouldn't be, he can say, hey, let's take a break.
You're just very focused on helping others find their purpose in life. And so I think even what we just talked about with the calling on your life and your husband being a part of the calling on your life, not necessarily the career in your life, is much bigger than just what you're going to do right now in this particular season, whether it's through Etsy or something else that could move on. Talk to us about helping people find their calling, find their purpose in life.
I get this question a lot of how do I figure out what my calling is in life, or what am I called to do? What am I supposed to do? And I think there's so much pressure associated with figuring out this one equation in our lives. And as I got that question more and more online and via email and all over, I noticed that there was this underlying question that indicated they thought their purpose was somehow lost, or that they could only have one calling in life. I think we all have this general purpose that is unifying, love God, love people, right? I think that is ultimately our calling, but the pathways in which we do that is going to look different. For some, it might be through sports. For others, it might be through formal ministry, and others might be through business or a hybrid. And so it's going to be different, the pathways in which we carry out that purpose. So I think what we're really asking is, what's the pathway in which I'm supposed to carry out this purpose and utilize my giftings to ultimately do that, but still contribute to the flourishing of mankind? And so as I thought about that more and more, I realized, you know what? I don't think our purpose is lost. I think we need to stop asking, how do we find our purpose? Because I think once we can come to a place where we say, I'm not going to find it in that position or this position or this position, it really it alleviates that pressure, I think, a little bit to have this one path that we figure out. Because I think as we grow as people, as we have experiences, as we go through hard things in culture, individually, in our work, sometimes our path shifts or God redirects us. So this pressure to find the one specific thing that we're going to do for our lives, I think my whole take on it is, let's first remove that pressure. That's how we're going to get clarity on what's the next best step.
I mean, even now, just in the very middle of what we're in, our seniors might be watching thinking, I wonder if just the economy or the world around me is shifting the very path that I thought was going to be my life, So there are going to be certain fields that are going to have more openings, certain fields that will take a lot longer to reboot. One day arenas will be filled again with basketball games, and people will be in large concerts, and festivals will happen. But in the immediate future, there are going to be a lot of reboots as we figure all this out. And so from the outside and from the inside, people are discovering their calling in their life. And so much of what you're saying is just, instead of thinking about the 20-year trajectory and all that, just own the very next day that's in front of you, right? Own this very moment. Matter of fact, so much of that is the premise of your book. Congratulations, by the way. It's a big success. Talk to us about owning your everyday. Like right now, a senior is looking, or any of our students are looking at their long future with maybe some uncertainties, but they know that God's called them to be very present in the here and now. Talk to us about that.
So in the book, I talk about the wisdom of planning, because I don't think you can really utilize the most of today until you have a picture of, this is where I'm aiming for. However, we don't have control over how that outcome is going to pan out. And so I really encourage young people who are looking ahead to their futures and saying, oh, maybe this might be a little bit different than I anticipated, or maybe this is not going to look how I thought. My challenge is, because at the end of the day, you are nothing is powerful enough, whether it's the coronavirus or your fears or a decision you made or a failure you experienced or anything else. Nothing is powerful enough to change God's plan for your life. And I think when you can realize that, it gives you the freedom to say, well, then today I'm going to continue moving forward, even if maybe what I thought was going to be this narrow little path to this specific point, maybe it widens a little bit and I have to be open to how that might shift a little, but I'm going to still keep moving forward. I'm going to show up today. I'm going to give my best today. I'm going to be the very best of me that I can be today. I'm going to love people the best way I can. I'm going to use my skills in the best way I can. I'm going to show up when I'm scared. I'm going to show up when it doesn't make sense. I'm going to do things that are uncomfortable. And I think when we can be willing to do that on a consistent basis and say, okay, I'm not going to live only for today as if, I'm scared for the future. Let's plan. Let's be proactive and then make the most of today with what we have where we are. And so I always say start small and have fun.
So can you take us a little bit deeper on that word uncomfortable? I mean, I think you can define it as God's pushing me towards something that feels scary, but you can also define it as maybe a student in a very practical sense who today had plans to go on an international trip. And that trip got canceled and now is going home, and it just feels uncomfortable for that person. They were hoping that this would be a great week with some of their, fellow classmates, and they're going to go to Europe, and they're going to eat great food and experience things that they've never experienced before. And now, right now in front of them, owning their tomorrow, owning their next Wednesday, is maybe an opportunity to finally go and sit with their sibling and have a one-on-one meal, have coffee with their dad, or just go spend a few hours with their grandmother in that nursing home. So uncomfortable sometimes can feel like boring to a college student. Can you take us into that and give us a challenge?
Well, I think we live in a world that tells us to pursue a happy life. And going on spring break would probably make you happy for a week. Speaking on Convo stage would make me happy for a minute. This makes me happy, though. There's moments in our life that we look forward to and we have an expectation of what it's going to be. But I've been challenged over the last year, and I wrote about this in the book, how I don't want my goal to be a happy life. I want my goal to be a meaningful life. Because then happiness and a sense of fulfillment will spill out from that, versus if we chase the feeling of happiness, we're always going to be seeking meaning. If you really think about spring break, I'm sure there's a ton of meaning wrapped up into it, but that doesn't mean there's meaning or not meaning in an alternate plan. And so I think my challenge and my encouragement would be seek the meaning. Make this the most meaningful week of your life. Make everything that you do, make the conversations you have, even if it looks completely different than you thought, and you thought you were going to be on a crowd, or with a crowd of friends on a beach and hanging out or doing missions somewhere or whatever it is that you were going to do, that the impact and the purpose that you have where you are with what you have doesn't change simply because the scenery changed or simply because the way that's going to go changed. And so my challenge is really, are you pursuing happiness or are you pursuing meaning? And how can you really make this week the most meaningful week?
Certainly that's what Paul echoes in Philippians, the epistle of joy. He is the scenery is the opposite of a spring break. I mean, he is in a prison cell, but yet he has joy. And the joy of the Lord is his strength. There's a level of trust of, I don't have to have uncertainty. I don't have to have certainty about what's right in front of me to have hope and peace. I can just trust that the Lord knows what tomorrow holds and that the Lord in his sovereignty has predestined this moment for me just to be faithful. So a really good word in that. Thank you. Talk to us about what people can expect if they listen to your podcast.
Well, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we call it the Personal Development Podcast for everyday women and creative entrepreneurs.
She with Jordan Dooley?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We just use the word she. So, all the guys, you can tune into all the Matt and Jay episodes because Matt brings some fun male perspective to it as well. But it's really designed to be a show that provides everyday tools to own your everyday. It's a faith-based show, but it's not in the Christian category because I like to welcome everyone in. And so I said, well, let's not categorize into a specific category, but I always bring, obviously, a very faith-based perspective to practical everyday things. How do we make the most of our time? How do we steward our finances well? How do we know if it's time to start a business? How do we decide if it's time to quit this job and move on to another one? Those actual decisions that we're making every day, how do we apply what we believe, the giftings we have, the practical tools that we have available to us to really actually own our everyday, to make the most of it, to serve people well, and to really make the most of our lives.
You're a big part of our new School of Business as an advisor. Man, that's exciting because you and Matt have built such a successful small business, that's grown into a large business. And so talk to us about that partnership with Dean Bratt and our School of Business.
Oh, it's been great. We've had so much fun. It's just getting started, but we had meetings a few weeks ago, and immediately it's just so neat to see how open and how willing Liberty as a school and as a leadership team is ready to just make any kind of growth and changes and ways to serve students in revolutionary new ways, in ways other schools aren't doing, in ways that really need to be addressed, in ways that really could make an impact and really support a diverse, I guess, diverse ideas when it comes to what does it actually look like to succeed in business? Are there other ways to do this? What are the creative ways we can involve community? So it's been really fun to just get to be a part of, to offer insight on to the world I come from, which is very different from the traditional business world. It's business in your pajamas from home, a lot of stay-at-home moms bouncing babies on the hips with a business running in the background. And so that's my goal in life. And, I love getting to bring that perspective, to have that perspective heard, and also to learn from all the amazing business owners there.
That's so great. Last question, a harder question. The last time that we had you on our schedule actually didn't work out because of just some really heartbreaking news for you and Matt. Just our condolences just in the miscarriage of your baby. And I asked if we could just talk about that because I think even through that very hard season, God used that as just a gift to you. And so talk to us about what that's been like and just what God's been teaching you guys as a couple just in this really hard time.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking and for your sympathy. I always say that when good comes out of something bad, it doesn't make the bad any less bad. And it was bad. Anybody who's gone through loss knows that. And I found that this is unique in that it's a difficult loss to understand unless you've walked through it or know someone who's walked through it. It's different from when, you lose a friend who someone can visually see versus when it's a pregnancy loss and not everyone else can see that child yet. But it's still very, very real for a mother and a father. And so, for me, I knew I had to share about that story because I felt very convicted of how can I utilize this for good and, again, pursue meaning in it? Because sometimes in situations like that, it can immediately feel like, what was the point? What was the point of getting pregnant? What was the point of all of this? And I think we can do that in our lives when plans don't go how we thought, when expectation doesn't meet reality. I feel like that's kind of been the story of my life the last several months. But ultimately, as a result of that, as much as it's been a grieving process, I've also noticed how much clarity God has given me and how much this has really reignited and brought me back to my why. Going through something that gives you perspective, when you come that close to life and death in such a short amount of time with something so intimate, it brings you to your knees and it makes you ask, why am I doing the things I'm doing? All the big goals that I had, I go, those all seem so silly in light of this kind of a thing. And
what was the why? I mean, when you first started your business, when you first started all this, you're saying this kind of reminded you, reinvigorated you towards your original why. What was the why?
Well, I think at its core, the why for me was I looked ahead at my life and I said, I want to be able to do what my mom did. Not everyone has that dream, but I had the dream of I want to be able to build a flexible career that would allow me to still contribute my gifts to the world, have a professional life, but have flexibility so I can be with my kiddos when I am a mom. I knew that my biggest dream and my greatest ambition in life is to be a mom, even though I am very ambitious in my career. And so because of that, I remember that was part of the conversation I had with my mom. I said, I don't think I just want to feel like I have to report somewhere every day. That's my personal goal for my life. And that was why she said, well, then start trying some things and see what might click. And so after going through that and going through pregnancy and then grieving the loss of that, the physical healing that comes with that very few talk about, that's a very real part of it as well. And I was able to stay at home and grieve and heal. It hit me like, this is a gift. I realized the very thing I said several years prior that I hoped to be able to do one day, to have that flexibility for my family, unfortunately was being lived out in a hard way. But it reminded me, man, I want to create this opportunity for other women, for other families who want to be able to bring a second stream of income in or another stream of income in. But it doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be, this huge, overwhelming thing. You don't have to build the next Facebook. You can just start something you care about and then have this flexibility that I was so blessed to have, to be able to spend a few weeks grieving and healing and doing those things. So it was interesting how that perspective changed.
Jordan, you've experienced a lot of things with Matt. I mean, he's not just your business partner and your husband. He's like your best friend. But you learned new things very recently about Matt through this loss. And so what is something that you've learned about your husband just going through this just real hard season that you didn't know before it?
I learned that we process grief differently and that he is a rock. When I crumble, he stands firm. And I always kind of knew that. He's always kind of been the string to my balloon, my calm in the storm. But what I realized through this experience was when we went through this, his first reaction was to take care of the house and do these different things. And I thought, why are you not sitting here crying with me? I can't even think about dishes, or I can't, but what I realized was it was his response to grief. Men generally tend to want to fix something. If they can't fix the situation, they'll try to make everything else okay and stable. And so what I think I really learned about him is I really can rely on him, and that he's a stabilizer and he's trustworthy. And though I knew he was trustworthy and I could rely on him, I'm a very independent type person. I can do this. And when I couldn't do it for the first time, I realized how much the partnership allows me the space to breathe, and that I can really, he's a rock.
So again, I know we keep coming back to this present moment, the very day that we're in, but I think that's such an opportunity for every student that's watching, every parent that's watching this morning, that people have a hunch about us. You had a hunch that you could go through hell and back. You could go through deep, deep sorrow with Matt, and that he would have this arsenal given to him by God to be able to lead you, as a husband, and to be there be tender and be there as a shoulder to cry on, but yet at the same time be hard enough to push through in moments where you just have a hard time getting out of bed. And I think people have a hunch about us. I think people know that as Christians, there's something in us that's greater than us. That the same power that rose Jesus from the grave is in me and can come through me. And I think so many people are going to be watching us, not Liberty University, but the Christians here at Liberty University during this season, to see how we hold ourselves. For every basketball player who's disappointed today that they're not going to the tournament, there's also the Christian basketball player who says, my greatest prize in my life, when I'm on my deathbed and I'm 85 years old, won't be whether I won, third round in the bracket or not. It will be, was I faithful to God? For every young lady who's watching this and their mission trip, to Colombia got canceled, is a longer trajectory of the way they acted, the way we held each other, and the way we looked outside of each other and looked around our community and said, how do we serve the very people around us that maybe don't have the hope that you have? And I think in God's perfect timing, he brought these kind of principles, through you here today. And so I'm glad you're here. Thank you for this.
Absolutely.
Your book is available in our Barnes & Noble and all, throughout the country and on Amazon. It's a great book. We highly recommend it.
Good thing to do on spring break when you're at home.
Yeah, go grab it. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Bless you. Hey, as we wrap up, again, I don't want us to miss this moment. My prayer for you as your campus pastor is that you would not waste this temporary affliction, that you would not waste this opportunity to be salt and light. People are watching how you respond on social media. And God is asking us not to just respond naturally to these things around us, but to respond supernaturally to what's before us. And so I ask that you exude the fruit of the Spirit. Ask the Holy Spirit to show how you show more patience when you're in line. If someone's cutting in front of you and grabbing that last can of food out of fear and panic, or grabbing something that you were next in line for, the way you respond will be an opportunity for you to be salt and light. And so I'm just praying for all of us that, again, we will look back on this and see that people in neighborhoods, people in communities came to know the Lord through this season, and that what the enemy meant for evil, God is going to use for his glory and the advancement of his kingdom. We love you. Again, just to reiterate what President Falwell said, the primary way that you're going to be able to get up-to-date information is through the banner page that is dedicated to the coronavirus on liberty.edu. You might get supplemental ways of information through someone's Instagram feed like mine or President Falwell's or Professor, but the best way for you to get information that's accurate and up-to-date, minute by minute, is through that banner page. That will be the way that we'll communicate with you as well through the spring break. Let's all just be praying that this won't be a retreat of our faith, but a retreat from our faith, but a retreat of our faith. I love you. God bless you. Thank you.